fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are working on and work alongside while I chat, or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. Today, I'm going to be working on my Sunday Delight. As you can see, I'm almost done. I've got one more section and a row, and then it will be finished. So I'm going to zoom in here to where I'm going to be working, and then I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, I'm going to start with some ABs here. As I've been doing this kit, I've kind of just been doing the ABs first. Just seems to make it a little bit easier. I find the AB drills are just a tad bit bigger, it seems, than the other drills. So if I leave them until last, sometimes it can be kind of difficult to make them fit in where they go. And I find if I put them on first, then that just makes it easier for me to do everything else. So I kind of look through the section and see what I've got that might be an AB, and I do those first. Anyway, just a little note there. So I want to start off talking about my regular life. What's been going on in my regular life? Well, been a week of broken things. We have had several storms this last week. Not bad, but rain, wind, enough wind that hubby had to go out and pick up some fallen branches before he could mow. So he goes out and picks up the branches so he can mow the lawn, and then he has to move my car out of the way in the garage so he can get the lawnmower out. So he goes to move the car, and the car won't start. And we're like, oh, great. Didn't know if we left the light on and somehow ran the battery down or something like that. So he's like, well, I really need to get the lawn mowed on one of the days while it was still cool. So he's like, I'll just move everything else out of the way so I can get the lawnmower out, and I'll start mowing the lawn. So he moves everything out of the way so he can get the lawnmower out, gets the lawnmower started, starts mowing the lawn. He's just done kind of a small section on the side of the house. We have a riding lawnmower, and there's a little lever that raises and lowers the mowing deck. So like when you're mowing the lawn, you put it down so it cuts the grass. When you're driving on like the driveway or whatever, you put it up so that the blades aren't coming in contact with concrete and things. So he goes to push it down, and here's a big ka-chunk. Doesn't know what it was, but he's mowing, so he finishes what he's doing, and he pulls back into the driveway, and he goes to move the lever, and it won't move. So he shuts the lawnmower off and gets to looking, and one of the pieces of the machinery that raises and lowers the deck, something has sheared off. There's like a metal piece that's busted that holds a pin. Luckily, our riding lawnmower is a John Deere, and we live in farm country, so lots of people around here carry John Deere parts, even for mowers. So he was able to go get the part for not very much money. And then he was afraid that it was going to take forever to fix the part. And it was hot outside by then because he was trying to mow while it was cool, and then it broke, and then he had to go get the part. So by the time he got back, he's like, oh, it's super hot, but I really need to get the mowing done. Okay, I'm going to do this. Well, it only took him about 15 minutes to replace the part, so yay. And then he got the mower moving again and was able to finish mowing the lawn, so yay. Mower's fixed, which is good because my brother-in-law had asked if when we move, if he and my sister can have it because they don't have a riding lawnmower. We have more property than they do because we have the empty lot next to our house, but it was actually my dad's mower, and I was like, yeah, we're not going to need it. I mean, we might need a riding lawnmower where we're going, but we're not going to pay to transport that one. It's huge and no reason to do that. So I just told him, yeah, he could have it when we were done. And then my husband's like, it's broken. I'm like, great. So he got all that fixed. Well, then he's like, okay, now I need to fix the car, which we assumed it was the battery. He had tried to move the car. It wouldn't start. Somewhere in the process of him fussing around with the lawnmower and everything and fixing it, he'd gotten the car to start. So we just thought something with the battery. He went and drove it around. It seemed like it was charging, so that was fine. So he parked in the driveway. He was fixing the mower, mowed the lawn. Then he's like, okay, I need to move the car back into the garage. Car wouldn't start again. So he goes out, pops the hood, and looks. The battery, the outside cases of the battery were bowed out. And I'm like, Pretty sure that's not good. Pretty sure that means the battery's toast. He tried putting it on the charger. I'm like, just go buy a new battery. So he had to look up and make sure that he could find one because we've had issues before trying to find a battery for that particular vehicle. They're kind of expensive. So $200+ later, he managed to find one that would fit, put it in. He, even though the sides were bowed out, he took the old battery to the auto parts store to have them run a test, which they did. And they're like, yeah, this battery's toast. So I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it just got too hot in the garage. I don't know if it was just some fault of the battery, but we replaced it, so it's all good. So now everything's running again, even if it took several replacement parts and several trips to various different parts stores. But like I said, everything is fixed and running again, so it's all good. As far as everybody else, the oldest is still trying to get back into the swing of being back at work after being off all summer. Everybody around here has pretty much gone back to school. I'm interested to see how that will be different. It used to be that around here we didn't start school until after Labor Day, and it has slowly crept backwards to now where everybody pretty much starts in the middle of August, somewhere around there. All the colleges and universities and public schools all go back to school somewhere around there. I think it used to be that maybe it was too hot because July and August are kind of the hottest months around here. When I was younger and having to go to school, we didn't have air conditioning in the schools. And so they came up with this heat contingency plan, which basically meant that everybody started school like an hour and a half early. So instead of starting at 8, we started at like 6:30 or 7. And then we were out by 1 or 2 o'clock, which was still a joke because by 1 or 2 o'clock, it was stifling in some of those rooms. I can remember taking some classes in high school that were outside in little annex buildings. Just horrible, horrible heat. But anyway, these days, most schools have air conditioning around here, so it's not a big deal. I sent my oldest a text and said, are you looking forward to having a 3-day weekend, having a long weekend? Because Labor Day is this weekend. And she said, yeah, I didn't even realize that we were having one until one of her coworkers at school asked her what she was doing. And she's like, what do you mean, what am I doing? Well, what are you doing for the long weekend? We have a long weekend? So she pays a lot of attention. I'm sure she had to have gotten an email from the school or something about when school, I mean, they get a school calendar, obviously, but clearly she doesn't pay a whole lot of attention to it. So hopefully she'll have some fun on her weekend off, or her Monday off, I guess. She normally gets the weekend off. It's the long weekend. The youngest and my husband are all about college football this weekend. That's all they've watched, basically. I told my husband, you guys are definitely going to need some sort of man cave or basement that I can relegate you guys to. My husband drives me nuts. As soon as there's a commercial, he's off to a different channel so he can watch a different game. I'm like, why can't you just stay on one channel? Well, I want to see all the games. All the clicking around just makes me batty. That's why I end up diamond painting through most of it, because that way I don't have to pay any attention. I just, every once in a while, I'll look up when there's a play or something, but it's almost always a different team than I was watching when I looked the last time. So, and I don't really care about college football. The only time I really cared about football was when my son was playing, and he doesn't play anymore. So hubby watches all the games. So they've been watching college football. They're eagerly awaiting the start of the NFL season. Hubby's been watching CFL football. My youngest doesn't watch it. I think he would enjoy it. It's different. Smaller leagues. I think there's only, 9 CFL teams or something like that. Maybe he'll change his mind when we actually move up there. Not that where we're going to be on the Atlantic coast, so no team for them. So I guess he'll have to decide. I'm sure they'll both still be watching the NFL as well, but anyway, hubby and I have been, well, mostly hubby, have been looking for rentals since we kind of decided we were going to rent up there. Hubby and I were like, well, let's just see what's available up there. It's so different in some ways. There's a bunch of people who are renting out, I guess, cottages that they live in during the summer. And they're 4-season cottages, unlike the one that we stayed at that was my brother-in-law's. So they rent them out during the winter. So they're sort of like long-term rentals. I don't know if the people live in other houses or they go down to like Florida or someplace. There's a bunch of people in Canada who have like second homes in Florida so they can go down there when it's winter in Canada, which I thought winter in Canada was more like 9 months of the year than just 3 or 4, but we'll see. Anyway, he's got a line on a couple of rentals and they're basically kind of month to month, which most people around here would want you to sign at minimum a 6-month lease. So the fact that it's kind of month to month, that way if we find a house sooner than we think, it won't be a big deal for us to move out of the rental into something permanent, and it will be easier to look for something while we're up there, I think. We did have another meeting with our financial advisor. Hubby is moving his retirement account now that he's old enough. He can basically roll it over into an IRA that he can then take regular withdrawals from if he wants to. So he's in the process of doing that. He has a line on a couple of contractors and or storm companies that he is trying to kind of coordinate with. I think what he really wants to do is storm. So be gone for a couple weeks, couple months, make a bunch of money storming, and then come home and be off for a couple of months. I figure it's going to be, we're just going to get used to him being around 24/7 and then he'll go back to work. That's probably the way it's going to work. But so if we can find a short-term rental, we'll see what happens. If we haven't sold the house by then we're tentatively talking about the youngest and I would go up there, stay in a rental, take part of our stuff, and then hubby would come back here and stay until the house is finally sold and everything is finished. I mean, we've talked to our realtor, and once it's officially sold, we can sign paperwork and things from Canada. We don't have to physically be here for the sale to complete. But who knows how long stuff like that can take. I've heard all kinds of horror stories about people's financing falling through or people pulling out at the last minute. And so we'll just have to wait and see. When we met with our financial advisor, we also talked about some of my financial retirement accounts, investment accounts. One of them is one that I had when I was teaching that I thought was a 401k. But when I called to ask about it, it's actually some different kind of account, and I could have cashed it out a long time ago with no penalty. And there's not very much in it, so I'm going to just cash it out. There's no penalty, they're just taking out taxes. So I'm going to cash it out. We'll use that for some expenses, moving expenses, that kind of thing. And then I have 2 different accounts from my dad, which they told me I couldn't cash out one of them. But then I called back a second time while the financial advisor was there with me, and he and I both talked to the people on the phone. And what I was told the first time was wrong. Because I inherited both of them from my dad, I can cash them out anytime I want to with no penalty. I probably won't cash out both of them. I think I'm going to leave one. I don't know yet if I'm going to leave it where it is or if I'm also going to roll it over into this company where my husband's putting his retirement account. Because we're just thinking maybe it would be handy to have both of them in one place. That way, while we're in Canada, we just have one place to kind of keep track of everything for both of us instead of multiple places. But I haven't decided about that yet. I've got to make some more phone calls. But I think this means that I can officially call my husband semi-retired. Like I said, he's still planning to work storms and that sort of thing. And if he gets a contracting job or a job working for a utility near where we're going to be, then maybe that won't be official. But for now, basically he's retired. The way that this retirement plan that he's cashing out works, he can't go back to work until after it's been completely cashed out and moved. Then he can go back to work and start a second one if he wants to. He's wanting to be done with the States and be back in Canada. That way, this type of retirement plan doesn't exist in Canada. So he's thinking that'll make things easier. I don't know. We'll see. Also, because we're cashing some of this stuff out, he still doesn't know if he's going to take some withdrawals out of his, because we were told once he rolls it over into the IRA, he's old enough now that if we wanted to withdraw some of it to help us pay for our house in Canada. So we're going to have proceeds from the sale of our house here, but if we find something that's more expensive in Canada, we could pull something out of his retirement account and use that so that we could pay cash and not have a mortgage on the house, which would be amazing if we could work that out. We'll see. Anyway, so I guess he's sort of semi-retired officially. We'll see what happens. I think he's bored now. I know he's gonna get bored just sitting around. But once we get back to Canada, he'll have family and stuff like that and things to do. I mean, we have family here, but we just don't get together a lot. Maybe that won't be different up there. I don't know. I think we'll be seeing at least one of his kids and his parents and his two siblings live in the same town where we're going to be. So I'm assuming that we'll see them more often, or at least where we think we're going to be. That may change too, but his other kids all live in different cities or provinces, so we may not see them as often, but and I'm already kind of going, ooh, if we're gone in October, am I going to want to come back in December? Because I was telling my husband, again, I think it would be easier for he and I to come back and visit than it would for my daughter to fly. I mean, she can and she would, I'm sure, but flying into Canada in the middle of winter or Maine, we could always drive up to Bangor and pick her up like we would normally fly. Or if he's not working and we have enough income coming in off of his retirement, or he's just like doing storm work so he's not busy over the holidays, then we could come back down here. I don't know if my son would want to come with us or not. Again, it depends on what he's doing. Even if he's doing something where he's like working remotely or something like that, I don't know if he'd want to come back. Plus, if he didn't come back, then we'd have to find somebody to take care of our house if we had a house by then, or if we had a rental, somebody to come by and check on it, make sure the pipes don't freeze while we're gone, that sort of thing. That would be nice to have a trailer by then. We could roll up and park at an RV park or my sister's driveway, hook up and just be close, but not in each other's business. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We're still trying to figure out if our plan of kind of splitting up the move and making one trip up there and then my son and I staying behind while hubby comes back down to finish things. Because essentially that would mean we need to either keep the vehicle we were planning on selling so that hubby had a vehicle that he could leave with us so we have a way to get around, or we would need to trade that vehicle in on something else, which is what we would really need to do because the vehicle I have, it's rear wheel drive, it's kind of a sporty car, it's really low to the ground, not going to be very safe or comfortable on snow-packed roads. So we'll see what happens there. I kind of want to wait and see a couple more weeks and see what happens with the house first. Plus, we just don't know what's going to happen. So it is supposed to be cooler here this week. Now that it's going to be September, I don't know if fall weather is here to stay, but instead of triple digit temperatures, we are now this week supposed to be in the 70s and 80s, which will be a nice change from hundreds and high 90s. So, and we did have, like I said, over this last week, we did have quite a bit of rain. So that was nice. Everything kind of, all the grass and everything kind of greened up. So that was needed and welcome. I don't think it's supposed to do anything here this week, but you never know. It's been kind of crazy weather other places, so we'll see what happens. I told my husband that's why I think him deciding to just kind of go storming, he might get some contracting work so that it's a more regular thing, but if he doesn't, he's fine just going storming. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure, given the weather lately, seems like we're going to have plenty of storms to keep everybody on their toes. And now that it's going to be cooler temperatures, I suddenly realized as I was moving some stuff that I haven't done anything on my temperature kit that I got from Craft Pack Canada in a while. I think the last one I did was May. I was going to do June and July because I figured by July we would hopefully be gone. Isn't the way that it's turned out. So now I think I have June, July, and August that I could finish up. We'll see if we're still here all of September or if we leave sooner than that. And I was not feeling good earlier this week. Friday, I basically spent most of the day sleeping. I don't know if I just had some kind of a stomach bug or something, but I could not even keep water down, and Yeah, I basically spent most of Friday just sleeping. So fingers crossed it was like one of those 24-hour bugs. I'm feeling much better because I don't need to be sick when we're getting ready to move. I can't, I just, ugh. I mean, the reality is we could just put off the move if something happens, but we're all ready to go, I think. I don't know if hubby was ready to go. I think he was hesitating until we finally decided to cash out his retirement and move it. So now that we've done that, I think he's feeling much better about everything, knowing that we basically, hopefully, depending on what we make from the sale of our current house, will be able to buy cash a house up there, not have to have a mortgage, not have to worry about getting some kind of small mortgage or financing or whatever when we don't really know what his income is going to be. That's the other thing. I was talking to the financial advisor. Things that just never crossed my mind until we started talking about him retiring. I'm younger than my husband, so it didn't occur to me that when he is old enough to retire, then he gets Medicare, but I'm still not old enough for Medicare. And I'm like, so what do I do? Because Medicare, at least as far as I'm aware, wouldn't allow me to go on his insurance. We could always get private insurance or something, but how expensive would that be? Yeah, just little things that you don't think about. And I was like, well, how do people who are retired, how do you prove your income? I guess you just I guess we could just give them the financials of here's his retirement account that we're taking regular withdrawals from, and they could see the amounts and whatever, but just stuff I'd never thought about before. I joke and tell my husband it's because he's old and I'm still so young. I haven't had to think about any of that, so it's never occurred to me, which isn't true. I'm not that much younger than my husband, but I am still younger. So, all right. So I think that's most of the things about my regular life. A lot of same old. Little excitement this week because of things being broken. But thankfully, hubby was able to quickly fix everything and ended up being no big deal. I do know my youngest is ready to go. He keeps asking me because we've talked with him about doing the rental thing and well, when are we going to go? When are we going to do this? When are we going to do that? Plus, hubby and I were talking if we do the split thing, depending on what we get, some of the rentals we've been looking at are furnished. So some of the stuff that we haven't packed up yet, dishes, kitchen stuff, bedding, linens, that kind of stuff, a lot of that would be provided in a furnished place. I would probably still want to use my own towels and sheets. I'd probably buy my own pillows if it was a furnished place or whatever. But a lot of that we wouldn't need right off the bat. And we might have to get some kind of storage unit up in Canada to kind of store furniture and things. If the place we got that was furnished, we wouldn't have room for all of our furniture, nor would we need it. So we'd need some place to put it. So yeah, just lots of stuff to think about. Okay, moving on to my diamond painting life. What's going on in my diamond painting life? Well, as you can see, I'm not finished with Sunday Delight. I was on track to finish it, and I would have had it finished by the end of August, but I ended up getting sick, and so for like 2 days in a row, I didn't really diamond paint. And I was so proud of myself because I was going to be done, and no. I'm still going to be done like September 1st or September 2nd, somewhere in there. So it's not like I'm at the end of September and I still haven't finished anything, but just I was hoping to be done by now, and I'm not, so that was a little frustrating. But I'm enjoying it. I must say, the drills are still a little bit gappy, but they're not as trashy as some of the other kits that I have. Now, granted, this spangler is not as old as some of my other spanglers. The two other spanglers that I completed this year, I bought back in 2020. I'm pretty sure this was like late 2022, early 2023 purchase, so upgrades to the drills have been made. So they're not as trashy, which is nice, but I also don't have, there's no 310 in this. There's not a ton of dark colors. There's like some 939 here and there as an outline on the dragons, but for the most part, there's not a ton of dark colors, so I've not had as much trash as I was expecting, so that's good. So I'm going to finish up this kit, and then after I get done with this, I will be moving on to my first Drills and Chills kit, which is the cute little Halloween girl that you guys saw me unbox and kit up. And then after I finish that one, that will be one finish for Drills and Chills. I could do another Drills and Chills kit, but since it runs September and October, and I'm pretty sure that Halloween girl is just going to take me a couple of weeks, especially because it's around. I think after I finish her, I am going to finish the Bella Art Diamonds that I just opened, the Christmas holiday one. So you'll be seeing the kit up for that soon, probably. And then after that, I have, I think, at least 2 or 3 other kits, Halloween kits that I can do for drills and chills. I've got kind of a bigger one that I think is like 40 by 50-ish size, maybe a little bit bigger, from Francesca's. I've got I've got several witch ones from Bella Art that I could consider Halloween. I've got a small Dreamer Designs that's a Halloween one with a gnome that I forgot that I had. So I could do that one as well. So I've got, I think, at least 2 or 3, maybe 4 Halloween ones that I could do if I include some of the witch ones and everything. So I may do another poll and ask you guys which one I should do for my second Drills and Chills kit, because I've just been looking through all of the smaller kits to see what I wanted to work on. I'm just having a lot of fun kind of working on some of these smaller kits. It feels like the first half of the year, I spent all of my time working on really large canvases. Some of that is because I was trying to finish up my 5 oldest. So, of course, the J Wall was super big. And then I did Belly Dancer was big. Universe in a Jar was big. Jasper C was big. Those are all 50-ish by 70-ish range. So doing some of these smaller kits is just appealing because I can finish them and then they'll be easier for me to move because, well, one, if I decide to take them, some of them I may decide to give away, donate, or give as gifts or something. Then whatever ones I decide to keep won't take up as much room because I can roll several of them up into some of my old Craftably tubes. I think I fit, one of my tubes currently has 4 finished diamond paintings in it. So I can fit more than just the one if I roll them up tight enough. So, and then I don't have to move them. The thing about it, moving them is if we split up our move, I would want to take them with us, obviously, because I want to have them on hand for videos and working on and stuff like that. But I also wouldn't want to leave them in like a storage facility or whatever unless it was climate controlled, because having them sit out in the cold, like I told my husband, clothes sitting out in the cold, tools sitting out in the cold, that kind of thing. But like paperwork, because of the change in humidity, I don't want that stuff sitting out there. I don't want the diamond paintings sitting out there. They'd probably be fine. They sit in a warehouse in many different places. They travel on delivery trucks and everything, and they've all arrived just fine, but I would just feel better if they were someplace climate controlled. So either they're going to move with us or they'll stay here. No. If we split the move, they'll move with us because I'll want them anyway. So yeah, just trying to figure out what kind of my next steps are so I can finish things. I need to go over and look at what all my diamond painting goals are going to be. I probably should have done that for this video, but I forgot about it because I was sick. So you'll probably be seeing that coming up soon. Where am I at with my goals? Because I'm kind of curious. I don't know how many things I've finished since the last time I counted. So I need to see that. I haven't purchased any new kits. So I don't think I'll have any purchases for August either. I didn't buy anything in July, and I don't think I bought anything in August. Pretty sure I didn't anyway. I did go out and check out some of the different stores that you guys told me. I checked out Art and Soul. I checked out that YLJ or whatever the name of that one is. But several of them that I checked out, they just didn't have any diamond paintings that kind of screamed buy me, must have. So I'm kind of having the same problem with them that I was having with Diamond Art Club. I mean, the images are cute or pretty. They're just not something that I'm like immediately, oh, I need that one. I kind of want to buy something just because I've noticed, as I've seen other people doing unboxings and stuff, that they've kind of changed, and now the picture of the diamond painting kit is on the box, the outside of the box, so you can kind of tell from the outside of the box what kit it is, which would be nice because I had taken to kind of labeling mine on the side so that I would know what kit it was, because if they're marked, they're usually marked on the end, and I don't store mine with the end showing. So I'd like to see what they look like. Plus, I don't think I've ordered a new Diamond Art Club since someone told me that. Like, I ordered the Mini Dazzles kit and got their new updated toolkit, but I don't think I've ordered like a normal sized diamond painting since then to see what the normal size toolkit looks like. I also want to do a cross stitch conversion. That has been on my to-do list for a while, as has ordering a custom. And I was going to try and do a cross stitch conversion, just get a blank canvas and kind of do it all myself. But Jada Gem Shop sells some smaller ones, mini cross stitch conversions, where everything is kind of all included. So it's sort of like buying a kit, but also sort of like doing a cross stitch conversion and also like doing a mystery kit all in one. So I might get one of those just so I have that to try out. I actually toyed with the idea of opening my mystery kit as well after my Halloween one and then the holiday one. But it's pretty big, and I didn't know if I wanted to start a project that large and then be in the middle of it when we get ready to move. So I guess I'll make that decision when the move deadline that we've kind of given ourselves gets closer. Things can change. Stuff might happen faster than we think. Stuff might happen slower than we think. I'm betting it's going to be slower. Hubby's betting on faster, but we'll see. Also, as I was scrolling through and watching people do unboxings, and I don't watch a lot of diamond painters, I'll dip in and if I see one and watch maybe the first 5 minutes or something, or I'll just scrub through and see what I want to see. But I saw somebody's video the other day and it was something about I ruined my diamond painting. And when I went to go look, 'cause I thought, how do you ruin a diamond painting? She had accidentally laid a piece of paper on it, and so she was using the baby wipe trick to get all the paper off. She'd exposed her canvas and then laid a piece of paper down without realizing it was exposed, and then of course the paper stuck to the glue. So she was trying to get all of that off, which she was successful doing. But then it got me to thinking, I was like, I've had a lot of canvases, but the only one that I can think of that I got rid of wasn't because the canvas itself was ruined. It was just the drills were super trashy. It wasn't a kit that I was in love with anyway. It was an old kit, and I just was like, yeah, it was big. And one of those I bought at the very beginning when I very first started diamond painting. And I did it for a while. I completed a couple sections on it, but the drills were just so trashy that I was like, I'm pulling my hair out. This is not worth it. But again, it wasn't because it was ruined. It was just because it was so frustrating. I just couldn't deal with it. But I got to thinking, have I ever had any kits that I would consider ruined? And I don't think there is. I mean, I've had, you guys saw me struggle with the J wall because those Diamond Painting Deutschland ones, Diana and Melody in Pink, were both double-sided adhesive, and so I had rivers and bubbles and stuff like that to kind of work out. But I mean, I figured out how to work it out and I completed the painting and it looks fine. So then I was like, well, trying to think of all the tips and tricks that I know, like how to get the paper off. If the glue, if you have like non-sticky spots, how do you fix that? Like, is there a way that you can ruin a diamond painting and make it somehow impossible to either fix it or finish it? Like, I've removed the double-sided adhesive and changed it over to poured glue. So leave me a comment below. Have you ever ruined a diamond painting kit? Whether, I was going to say accidentally on purpose. I'm sure no one ruined it on purpose, but what did you do accidentally that somehow ruined it? Was it prior to putting drills on? Was it after putting drills on? That would suck. If you like finished a diamond painting and then like sealed it or something and somehow the sealing process went wrong, that would be awful. I could maybe sort of see it in that instance, because once you put the sealer on, what are you going to do? But other than that, I can't really think of anything, especially something that would be prior to completing it, that would just absolutely ruin it. So leave me a comment down below if you've ever had a ruined canvas or something that, like I said, was just, for whatever reason, impossible to fix whatever was wrong with it. I'm really genuinely curious. Or maybe if it was just an unusual problem, what did you do to fix it? Did you have to go out and like search to see if anybody else had had this problem? Did you just come up with a solution on your own? Because it's, for me, one of those things like static. Everybody, whenever I mention my static guard, oh, I just use dryer sheets. Awesome. I know so many people do. but I've just never gotten the dryer sheets to work for me consistently. My static guard method, I've never had it fail, and I don't have to rub tons of drills over a dryer sheet or whatever. So I do what works for me. But I'm just, like I said, I'm just curious if anybody has ever had a diamond painting that they were like, oops, this went wrong. Oh, I guess maybe the other thing that just leapt to mind was like people who leave the plastic cover sheet on and then section with washi and then accidentally cut through with like one of those ceramic cutters, cut through the entire canvas. But I've always wondered, like when you do that, I wonder if you could just like put tape on the back of the canvas and then, I mean, it's really just a slit. It's not like you cut a hole. So could you tape it back in place and then put the drills, like tape it on the back and then put the drills on the front and have it all hold together? Thanks to Jess's seam ripper tip, I've never actually cut through a canvas. That used to be why I wouldn't use that method with washi tape sectioning, because I was so afraid that I was going to cut through this expensive canvas and ruin it so that I couldn't finish the diamond painting. I never did, thankfully, but with the seam ripper, there's no chance of that happening, so I haven't worried about it since then. Also, I usually use my release papers now, so I don't have to worry about cutting anything. The release papers do the sectioning for me. It's kind of like automatic sectioning, so I don't have to worry about cutting anything with a ceramic cutter or a seam ripper or whatever. Anyway, so if you've done that, leave me a comment down below. Let me know the story, what happened, why couldn't you fix it, etc. I just feel like also, since so many people are moving to poured glue, I mean, even the budget companies have kind of moved to basically poured glue. I can't remember the last time that I got a double-sided adhesive canvas. I mean, I think pretty much everything that I've ordered since the two Diamond Painting Deutschland Josephine walls has been poured glue rather than double-sided adhesive. So maybe I'm just not ordering from places that use it. But in my experience, most everything I get these days is poured glue. There just aren't as many issues with poured glue as there can be with double-sided adhesive. So yeah, just curious. I think that's it for me today, guys. Let me zoom out here so you can kind of see. I finished the one dragling. I've got the face of this one. You can see its little tail here that I've got to finish. I think the horns are still in this section up here to finish the horns. But other than that, so the two little draglings are done. Basically, this last row at the top that I have to finish is like background with the wallpaper and the leaves and everything. So kind of all the confetti stuff is done. So I'm hoping that like these wallpaper sections here, that's kind of what's on this last row. So it'll be quite a bit of multi-placing, not a bunch of confetti like I've had down in these other sections. So it won't take me too long to finish. And then I can move on to drills and chills. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.